G'day lip rippers, welcome back to another episode. Well, we're in the kitchen this episode doing something a little bit different. You guys have been asking for a little bit more cooking on the channel, so I'm going to try my best to try and do so. It's just hard for me to keep fish when I love the buggers so much. Anyway, today's episode we're going to be smoking some tailor. Yesterday we went out, aka last week's episode, we went out and caught quite a few mulloway, even got onto a couple of mac tuna and got a couple of tailor as well. So we're going to be smoking some tailor today. I'm going to run through, it's super simple how to do it. Going to run through what you need, how to do it. We got a cryovac machine. It all sounds really fancy, but it's super simple and it's actually extremely cheap once you get set up. And it's a really nice way of just having some fresh fish in the fridge ready to go. Cryovacing it down. It lasts a couple of months in the fridge. It's great on toast, on crackers, through salads, through pastas. Going on a camper mission, you take some homemade jerky and some smoked fish and you look like an absolute rock star. So I'm going to get into it. It's super simple, guys, so don't get overwhelmed. We're going to be doing tailor, which is like not a table fish. It's got really strong oily taste to it. Very important when you do catch your tailor is to bleed them, which means basically you break their neck, or I like to get my knife straight away in behind the gills and just cut it straight away, and you'll see all the blood coming out. Put the fish up so all the blood runs out into the water, and yeah, basically you want as much blood out of the fish as possible. If you don't bleed the fish, that blood's going to go into the meat and it's going to pretty much make it inedible. It's going to be real bitter and real red and just not nice at all. So tailor has got a very strong flavour. You can cook it normally. You've got to be a real fish lover to enjoy the flavour, but I find smoking it is a really, really beautiful way of getting flavour into the fish and being able to preserve it for later dates. So anyway, let's get into it. I'll show you what you guys need, and I'm excited. So hope you guys enjoy this episode. Like, share, subscribe, all that juicy stuff, and let's get into it. Alright, so let's quickly run through what we need, and then I'll show you the process. So I've got everything that I needed from BCF. So this is just a fish smoker. So it's a very simple little smoker. It's got these little burners on the bottom here, you can see there. Basically fill that up with some methylated spirits and you just light that and it'll burn through the bottom of that. Put foil down, put wood chips there, and then we got our rack here. We lay our fish there, and then the heat will hit that surface, make that wood smoke. Got a lid for it, and it takes about 12 to 15 minutes in the smoker. There's a little vent here, so you can change how strong you want your flavour. So if you just want a light smoke, you obviously leave it open. But if you want the full experience, just close it fully, and you'll have a very strong flavour. I have it about halfway, to be honest. I like a little bit of aeration. I feel like it's just a better flavour. I feel like if you close the vents and you've got the same smoke in there, it's going to be very strong and it's going to be kind of a bitter taste. I feel like you kind of need it to be aerating and get fresh smoke all the time just to get real nice flavour in it. So that, and these are our smoke chips here, or smoker dust. This is from BCF. I'll try and find all the prices. I bought this years ago, so I'll try and put up some prices as I go in the link in the description regarding the fish smoker and the smoker dust here. You can get a few different flavours. This is peach flavoured. So yeah, you want the real fine wood chips. You don't want the real big stuff because obviously it's not direct heat. It's not going to work, so you really need the fine stuff. And yeah, I just go through and pick a different flavour every time, just to have a bit of a play around. So yeah, that's plenty of dust there. Like I said, I've had this for years, and that one bag's done me probably 6-7 smokes, so you get quite a fair bit of yield out of it. And that is pretty much it, guys. So I'm not going to obviously smoke inside the house. I'm going to be outside doing this. Here's our beautiful tailor that we caught yesterday. So I have filleted them at the boat ramp yesterday, so that way it's easy to discard of the frame because I don't crab. I just throw it to the pelicans and they eat it. But yeah, if you're a crabber, obviously you can freeze your frames down and put them in the freezer for your next crab trip. Anyway, so yeah, I've just filleted them. I've still got the bone in them and I've still got the skin on. So I'm going to take this middle bone out now and also take the skin off, and then we're going to get on to the next steps. So I'll run you guys through how to take the skin off and take those bones out and how to prep the rest of our ingredients. So also we need salt, sugar, and optional pepper. So you can add spices in with this mix. It depends how fancy you want to get. Today I'm going to keep it nice and simple. I always keep it simple anyway. But if you're going to add anything, just a little bit of lemon zest on the real fine grate. Put in that with your sugar and salt mix, or if you get a spice called sumac, it's like a dark purple color and it's got a real nice citrus flavor to it, so you can actually put that in with the sugar and salt. So let's just wash our hands and we'll get onto the rest of it. All right, so yeah, very important, just have everything set up, ready to go. Pretty much like any cooking, mise en place, have everything ready. So that way when you're cooking, it's nice and simple, it's straightforward, and it's easy to get everything. So never use fish on wooden chopping boards. I don't use any meat or any fish, any poultry, anything at all on chopping boards. This is just fruit and veg. You don't want the meat flavors going into the wood. It's very, very bad for the bacteria, and it's not good for the meat, for the wood as well. So here we go. Got a nice little plastic board here. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to take the skin off first, and then there's like a little row of bones up the middle here. So we'll fillet that up, and we'll get to everything to one stage, and then I'll get the sugar and salt mix on the go, and we'll get into it. All right, so there we have our fillet of fish there. So what we're going to do is get the tail bit there, and obviously this isn't a filleting knife, but it's my chef knife, which has got a really nice, strong backbone. It's really good just for taking the skin off. So what we're going to do is just get that little back bit there. Obviously you guys can just YouTube how to do this. There's plenty of videos out there, and I'm sure most of you guys know how to do it, so I won't talk about it too much. But yeah, basically just 3/4. So you don't want to cut all the way through. You just want to get to the skin, and then you just want to have enough on the back there just to be able to hold your thumb there. So you're going to hold that and basically work the fillet and let the knife do the work. So very important to have a super sharp knife, and if you're struggling to hold that, you can get a Chuck's towel or something just to give you a bit more grip. So anyway, you just want to put your knife down, and basically instead of going up, you want to just point the blade just down enough, and like I said, you wiggle the actual fillet and let the knife do the work. It's very important. If you start using your knife, you're going to tear the meat too much, and you're probably going to leave a bit too much meat on the flesh, on the skin. So in there we go. So I'm in there. So now I'm just going to keep that nice and tight, and then just basically wiggle the fillet, and every now and then just lift it up, make sure that you're getting that skin off and not going too deep. So you can see why having a very sharp knife is very important here. And you can wiggle the knife a little bit, but majority of it you want that wiggle to be doing most of the work for you. So there we go, there's the skin straight off there. Again, I'm going to be throwing that out. So I've left the scales on it because obviously there's no point in scaling if you're taking the skin off. So I will be washing this fillet. So let's see how we go. There we go, look at that, beautiful. All that skin has gone. So there is a little tiny bit there, but it's nothing offensive or anything like that. So I'm happy to leave that. It's not like we're serving it to anyone special, it's just for the boys. And then the pin bones here, you can feel those pin bones there. So that works all the way down to the belly. So you want to work up the top of the fillet there. Obviously, again guys, you guys can just YouTube this. I'm sure you guys know how to do all this. But yeah, basically all I do is just little inserts and then run my finger through just to be able to feel the bones. There's a few belly bones there too, so we'll try and get rid of the pin bone and the belly bones. Get underneath the belly bones and just kind of cut them out. There we go, so that's the belly bones there, and then we've got this little V in here that we can cut out here. So there's a few bones in there, and then also the belly, and then I just make sure I run my fingers through that. So discarded that, and then all that is all edible flesh. We'll just trim off any kind of, so there's frills here, just take those off, clean up the fillet a little bit, and there we go, that's pretty good. Depends on the end bit too. Obviously this bit here is going to cook a lot slower than the thin bit, so I like just to take off a little bit of the tail there, that tiny little bit there. I mean that's just going to dry out and be no good anyway, so we'll discard of that. Alright, so I'm going to run through, do the rest of these fillets, taking the skin off, taking those bones out, and then I'll show you guys the next step. Alright, so we've got to the next stage. So the fish have had the bones removed and also the skin. I've washed them under the tap just to discard any more scales or anything like that. So I've laid them nicely on a plate. I put some paper towel on there, and we're just going to dab a couple of paper towels on top just to get rid of that unwanted moisture. Sweet. So it's just going to absorb any more moisture that we don't want in there. So I'll put that aside. I'm going to do our little mix here. So sugar, pepper. So this pepper's got 4 different peppercorns in it. I get this from the supermarket and just put it in my own little grinder. Really nice flavour. There's white, pink, black and green in there. And yeah, you just get a really nice mixture of pepper. I'm a big pepper fan, so for me to have really nice pepper, very important. Obviously optional, and just cheap old, good old Aussie salt there. So that's the ingredients we need. Alright, so 50-50 sugar to salt. Obviously we don't have heaps of fillets, so we'll probably just do 2 of each, I'd say. So I'm just going to level teaspoon of 2 raw sugars. So it doesn't matter what sugar you use, caster sugar, raw sugar, whatever. We don't have caster sugar in the house. We just use our raw sugar for our coffees and teas, so I'll just use that, that's fine. Obviously, same ratio for the salts. One. Two. Let's do 3 of each because I don't want to have to do this again. Alright, so that's 3 salt and 3 sugars, grind of pepper. So again, optional. I like pepper. And if you got sumac, probably a level teaspoon of sumac in there. Yeah, it's quite a strong flavour. Obviously, you still want to be able to taste the fish as well. There we go, nice crack of pepper in there, sugar, salt, give that a stir, and that's it. And it's honestly such an easy way of making really nice fish. There we go, sugar, salt, pepper. So we'll get this fish out and we're going to sprinkle it with this, and then we'll set up the smoker and we're on the smoking process. How easy. Alright, so put our fillet there, and you're just going to quite heavily season it, and just make sure you get the whole surface, and then with the other hand I'll just like pat it in there, try and get any little nooks and crannies. Obviously that's all the flavour. There we go, that's beautiful. And I'm going to flip to the other side. Lovely. So we got it to that stage, roll it around the plate. So I'm going to get all the fillets to that stage, and then we'll set up the smoker and we'll start smoking. Alright, so we've got the sugar salt mixture on there. I'm just going to quickly run through these fillets now and just trim them up a little bit. Obviously, smoking the big fillet at a time. If you're going to eat the whole fillet, then that's fine, but I like to cut it up into little pieces, just so one pack's kind of one feed, if that makes sense. Because obviously that was quite a big tailor. It's way too much food by the time you put it on toast or anything like that. So I'm just going to cut these up into goujons, which is a fancy little word for chunks pretty much. So cut all this up. Obviously thicker bits are going to cook a lot bigger than the smaller pieces, so we'll probably do the big fillet first, and then we'll go through and do the smaller fillet. So you can break it up after you've smoked it, but I like to do it before, just because it's just a lot cleaner. As it's raw flesh, you cut it, and it's nice if you kind of cut, or it's more tears or cooked meat, and it just won't look as nice, and it'll be a bit messier as well. So this way you're not wasting as much, it looks a lot better. So just going to cut these up. Obviously all the thicker bits will cook together, and then we'll do the smaller bits together as well. Beautiful. Lovely. Alright, so very important to have everything ready to go for the smoker. So we've got our fish laid out. So very important to get rid of the leaf. Have it spread out. You don't want the fish obviously on top of each other. It's not going to work. Like I said, there's some thinner bits in there, some bigger bits, but I'm not fussed. That's personal preference, but I don't really mind. I'm just going to throw it all in there and get the job done. So those 2 fish, perfect. You can see how much meat actually out of 2 fish is quite a fair bit there. So yeah, that's laid out on the rack, ready to go. We've got our smoker there. Everything's laid up, ready to go. So we're going to put our dust in now. So I'm going to put our dust in now. Way I like to do this is just in the middle. So I probably put about cup and a half to 2 cups. You do want to squash it out a little bit. You don't want a big heap of it, because when you put that down, your fish could stick to the bottom of it, so that should be alright. So I'll just make that a little bit flatter. So it's about a cup and a half of dusts, but depends on how fast everything burns. But yeah, that should be a pretty good start. And also with the fish, I've put the skin side down on the actual rack, so there's a lot more oil in the skin. Obviously we're taking the skin off, but there's still plenty of oil, more oil on that flesh side, so that's going to help not stick to the rack. You can put a little bit of cooking spray underneath, but once it cools, it's pretty easy to get off. And like I said, if it breaks, it's, you know, it's just a bit of smoked fish for home, so it's nothing presentable or anything like that. So next step, we got these little cookers here, these little burners I should say. So we're going to fill these up with metho. They go back in there, we light it up, and this obviously fire needs air to burn. Obviously the more closed, the less flames you're going to get, so I generally have them really open. And then these little covers are afterwards, you put them on top just to stop after you finish. So we'll chuck the old metho on. We'll fill these up. So very important not to spill it either, obviously. So I'll fill them up a little bit over halfway. Put them in their little zone. Alright, so they're in. Make sure those holes are completely open. Make sure we get rid of this before we knock it over. Alright, so I like to use matches, just because that way it's on a stick and it's a lot easier to light. So we'll light this. Alright, so that's lit. Now metho burns clear, so to the naked eye that doesn't look on, so just put your hand above it. I can feel the heat coming out of that, and obviously when you start it, it'll pop as well. So yeah, that's fully on there. And then I'm going to put our wood chips on top of that. A fish in a rack on top of that, and that's it. Lid on. Again, I like to put about halfway of that, so it's got plenty of fresh smoke coming in. Do up the 2 handles. Put a timer on for about 12 minutes, and then we'll come back after that and we'll have a look. So I'll put a timer on and I'll see you guys very shortly. But yeah, super easy. Super easy. All right, I'm gonna have a quick look at this. Yeah, beautiful. So I'm not gonna take that lid off too much. What I'm gonna do is take this off. Oh, look at that. Actually, perfect amount of metho. So there we go. So if you got a little bit of metho left that's still burning, but your fish is done, all you have to do is just chuck your little caps on. That's obviously going to kill the flame. And then anything left over, I put into a little jar, and then I can reuse that next time. So I'm going to let that sit there for 10 minutes or so. There's still plenty of smoke in there, so it's going to absorb all that smoke. And then we'll clean down and we'll give this fish a taste test, let it cool right down, and then we're going to cryovac it and store it away. Alright, going to have a little bit of lunch here. So I've just got some little bickies with some cheese, some of the smoked Taylor, and some red onion. So that's going to be lunch. But yeah, really good for this type of stuff, sandwiches, stewed palette, salads, pastas, all that. So yeah, cheers. Super easy. Like I said, I'll leave all the prices in the details below. You know, it doesn't take much effort at all and you get something delicious out of it. So let's give this a crack. So good. So good being able to take it camping with the boys. It's easy. Anyway, I'm going to have some lunch and then we'll get the cryovac machine out and show you how to store it. So good. Ready for some lunch? Alright, so it's time to cryovac down. So this is a Sunbeam food saver. Again, I'll try my best to leave the prices down in the description below. But yeah, they're pretty cheap, definitely under $100. And yeah, just a really awesome way to store food for a longer period of time. So for myself, when I'm camping, kayak fishing, going on hikes, you know, jerky, smoked fish, that type of thing is really, really handy to have. Good source of protein when you're on the go without having to worry about storing it in eskies and fridges and all that. So super easy to use this guy here. That's the inside of it there. So basically you cut your bag to whatever size you want and yeah, you put it in and I'll show you how it works. So let's get our fish ready. Right, here's our lovely smoked fish. So it's just myself and my mum. So I'm going to probably, or myself and Dave if we're out fishing or whatever. So I'll probably just put maybe 3 bits of fish in each. 1, 2, so we'll probably do 3 bags. So obviously the more fish you have, the more fish storage you'll need. So probably 3 bits. So yeah, we'll just measure it up. So probably do about 3 little lines with the world's bluntest scissors. So blunt. Cool. So yeah, I've got plenty of these rolls. So these machines come with like 1 or 2 rolls of the plastic, but you can just jump on eBay, and I've got like 4, 5 real thick rolls of this. It'll last me probably my lifetime, to be honest. But yeah, super cheap. So that's our bag. Obviously, you can't put anything in there at this stage. So pop this bad boy open. So it depends what one you get, but you'll find where it actually seals. So I think this one here seals on this black line here. So I'm going to put that little end bit in there, close it, and lock it into place. And up top here you can see seal or vacuum. So we're going to seal. So that's going to seal that bag so we can put the fish in. So it'll just stop flashing in a second and should be good to go. And then yeah, there's a handheld accessory that you can buy, and it's just like a little plug-in guy there, and it's like a handheld smaller cryovac, so which is interesting. Anyway, pop that up and you can see that's sealed nicely there. It's probably a little bit close to the edge, to be honest. Be careful with that, but yeah, that's all sealed nicely. Cool. So we'll put our fish in. So we put, so that's what I mean. Let it cool. It doesn't stick to the racks too bad because of that oil that comes out of that skin, or the skin side, I should say. And we'll chuck our bits of fish in. So super, super handy, hey. Like it takes a little bit of time and effort, but when it's windy and the fishing's no good, well, these are the little things that keep us occupied. And I don't eat much fish, so it's good to have in the diet. So there we go. There are 3 nice bits of fish there. So that's more than enough for 2 people. Chuck it through, yeah. Pasta, salad, crackers, sandwiches. So we're going to put that on. And then this time we're going to hit vacuum. And yeah, we're going to do it on a dry. So you should have a dry or a moist. Most of them do. Moist is more like stews and all that type of stuff. But I always put it on dry for this type of stuff. So vacuum. Gonna suck all that air out. You can see that. All this liquid's coming out, which just prevents all the bacteria growing. So that's why cryovac machines are good, is because it sucks the air out and there's no air for the bacteria to grow in. So it makes your food last a lot longer. Just waiting for it to stop flushing. There we go. And then just open her up. And there we have it. Beautiful wild caught smoked tailor, ready to go for any picnic, any hike, any fishing, kayaking, adventure. Food on the go, protein on the go, delicious, healthy, and it didn't cost anything. So like I said, it does take a little bit of effort, and once you got everything established, like you can get set up for under a couple of $100, and then you can do this for yourself. So yeah, awesome. Anyway, I'm going to continue with the next 2 bags, and they're going to be in the fridge. They'll store up to about a month really in the fridge, and then you can freeze it. So if you're going to freeze it, I probably wouldn't recommend eating it as is. I would be putting that through more of a pasta or on top of a pizza or something, so you can recook it, just in case if any bacteria does grow in there. That'll the heating process over 60 degrees is going to kill any bacteria. So but yeah, you know, that'll be in the fridge. It's only 3 packets, so we'll definitely get through that in the next few weeks anyway. So yeah, anyway, I will get the rest on the go. Alright guys, that's going to be the end of the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Something a little bit different. You guys have been asking for a little bit more cooking, so hopefully that shows you something, a nice quick easy way of being able to store beautiful smoked fresh fish for all those camping, hiking missions that we get up to. Really nice way of getting a little bit of protein when you're on the go, and absolutely bloody delicious. So make sure you guys give it a crack. Like I said, all the prices and everything will be down in the description below, best I can. You know, once you're established, and if it's going to be a continuous thing, it's a pretty easy system. I think the hardest part's catching the fish, to be honest. But yeah, there they are there in the bag. Absolutely delicious. Super happy with that. So really nice way. If you're not a big fish fan like myself, I don't like overly fishy fish, that's a really nice little cheat code there. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Chuck in a comment below if you guys would like to check out my beef jerky recipe. I'm definitely going to get a batch of that on the go pretty soon, so chuck in a comment below if you're interested in that. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Anyway, we'll see you guys out in the water. Let's go.